American Civil War started April 12, 1861 and finished May 9, 1865. It was started when Southern states seceded from the Union after the election of Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln freed the state from North. The member blacks can join the fight to win their freedom. The President Lincoln wanted to end slavery. It was important even if their men were killed. He never gave up on something that he wanted. And look the result. He won the battle. And Lincoln freed the slaves. Union General Eben McDowell wanted time to return his soldiers into an effective fight force. But by July 1861, Northern newspapers were demanding the capture of Richmond and quick end to the war. McDowell's 30,000 men left Washington and marched southwest into Virginia. About the same number of Confederates wanted at Manassas, a railroad center about 25 miles away. Hundreds of people rode out from Washington to see the battle, expecting an easy Union victory. The armies crashed along Bull Run, a railroad just north of Manassas, on July 21. American tragic conflict began early in the morning on April 12, 1861, at Fort Sumter. The dark night was suddenly lit up by Confederate shells fired from the mainland. Within a few hours, the Fort Wonder barrack had caught fire and portions on the fort had crumbled. At midday, a Confederate shell knocked over the fort's flagpole. The firing went on throughout the day's evening. By the next day, the Union garrison was exhausted and every wounded captured in the fort was ablaze. In April 1862, the Confederation seized an opportunity to attack Union forces in the west. Two Union armies were attempting to join each other in the southwestern. 10th Confederates attacked near Pittsburgh, landing 10th on April 6, hoping to crush one Union force before the other could arrive. This Confederate victory made Lee bolder. He was convinced that a major victory at Union would force Northern to end the war. In June 1863, Lee drove across Maryland and marched into Pennsylvania. On July 1, 5 Confederate soldiers approached the quiet town of Gettysburg. They were looking shoes which were in short supplies in the thaw because the Union blockade. More troops joined the fight on both sides by evening. The Southern had pushed the Union force back through Gettysburg. The next day, more than 85,000 Union soldiers forced some 75,000 Confederates. On the afternoon of July 3rd, Lee ordered an all-out attack on the center of the Union line. Only a few hundred men reached the Union lines, and they were quickly driven back. About 7,000 Confederates were killed or wounded in what is known as Pickett's Charge. In all, Confederates suffered more than 25,000 casualties. The Battle of Atlanta was fought in July 22, 1864. Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. Union forces commanded by William Sherman waiting to neutralize the important road and supply help defeat Confederate forces, defending the city under John Hood. After ordering the evacuation of the city, Sherman burned most of the buildings in the city, military or not. After taking the city, Sherman headed south toward Savannah, being the victory greatly was Northern. On July 4, 1863, as Lee's shared army began its retreat from Gettysburg, the South suffered another major blow far to the south and west. Vicksburg surrendered to General Grant. It had been one of the last cities of the Mississippi River to remain an Confederate hand. Unable to take Vicksburg by force, Grant had begun a siege of the city in May 1863. Abraham Lincoln was not yet a nationally known figure in 1857, but he was well known in Illinois as a clever, useful leader and politician. People killed Lincoln for his quick wit and down-to-earth approach. He was known as a good, straightforward speaker. Even so, I listened once complained that he could not understand a speech of Lincoln's. There are always some place a dog can't reach. Lincoln replied. Lincoln said, "We were highly resolved that this dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people. For the people shall not perish from the earth." Robert Lee served as a military officer in the U.S. Army, a West Point commandant and legendary general of the Confederate Army during the Civil War, 1861 to 1865. In June 1861, Lee assumed command of the Army of Northern Virginia, at which he could lead for the rest of the war. Lee and his army achieved great success during the Peninsula Campaign and the Second Bull Run, and Fredericksburg, with his greatest victory coming in the bloody Battle of Chancellorsville. In the spring of 1863, Lee endured the Northern only to be defeated at the Battle of Gettysburg, with Confederate defeat and new centrally Lee. Lee continued on battling under General Ulysses S. Grant in a series of clashes in Virginia in 1864 to 1865, before finally surrendering what was left of his army in April 65. Lee has been praised by many for this strategical brilliance and remains a star figure in the American South. A party of abolitionists had tried to start a slave rebellion in Virginia, attacking an ammunition depot. Brown's army was captured quickly, tried and sentenced to hang, after which many Northerners hailed him as Martin. George Armstrong, a U.S. cavalry officer who served with distinction in the American Civil War, is better known for leading more than 200 of his men to their death in the notorious Battle of the Little Bighorn in June 1876. The Civil War had a devastating plantation impact on the South. All Southern, rich and poor, black and white, faced a long struggle to rebuild their lives and their land. Physical destruction. Most of the fighting during the Civil War took place in the South. Cities and plantations lay in charred ruins. 2/3 of the railroads were destroyed. Southern states created a network of laws, recurring segregation of efforts, separation of races. These so-called Jim Crow laws buried the mix of races in almost every aspect of life. Black and white people were born in separate hospitals and buried in separate cemeteries. The laws decreased playground, restaurants, The Onion Army attack is suffered about 12,000 casualties. We lost nearly 14,000 men, almost one-third of his army. At first, the president resisted. Lincoln knew most Northerners did not want to end slavery. To overestimate the number in the country who hold such views, Lincoln told one abolitionist, Lincoln feared the only action to emancipate and slavery African American might make the border states ceded. Lincoln said his goal was to restore the Union, even if that means letting slavery continue. Lincoln said, if I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I could do it. And if I could save it by freeing all the slaves, I would do it. What I do about slavery, I do because I believe it helps to save the Union.